Be interviewing a special guest named Chris. Now, Chris, can you tell us about the Red Scare?
Know about the Hollywood 10. The Hollywood 10 were 10 unfriendly witnesses that worked in Hollywood. They were called to testify but refused. Then they said it was unconstitutional, so they were blacklisted.
Do you have any other information on the Red Scare?
Not that I can recall.
Did you encounter any duck and cover drills? Explain to us how that went.
If there was a flash of light, you would either go under a desk or you would dive next to the wall and cover your head and neck with your hands.
Thank you. It must have been tough back then. Why did you have...
The election of 1948 was between Truman and Dewey, and Truman won that election.
Was Truman ever associated with the Dixiecrats?
The Dixiecrats were Southern Democrats that created it and were considered the Southern Rights Party.
Now I give you Sean. He's an expert on the 50s.
Austen, but I'm no expert. I'm a master of the 50s.
Let's test your knowledge, shall we?
Ask me any question.
Explain the impact that automobiles had in the 50s.
The impact of automobiles was great because it made traveling a lot easier. The development of the suburbs was also a definite boost for the needs of cars. The Interstate Highway Act was another boost because the president passed an act which authorized the building of the nationwide highway, which was 41,000 miles expressway.
That's a very good description. Now can you give me the impact on TV?
An impact of TV was also another must, because between the time saved with cars and the baby boom, and with women having free time, TV was a time filler. When anyone had free time, they would watch TV. Tom and Jerry was a very popular show in the 50s.
Okay, thank you. Can you explain what changes the radio and movie industries had to make to attract people?
Radio stations turned to a local programming for news, and finally the strategy paid off. As far as movies, they had the advantages such as bigger screen, surround sound, and color movies.
Last question. Can you describe beatniks?
Beatniks were people who followed the beat movement. The writers believed in imposing as little structure as possible because they often had a free, open form.
That's all the questions for today.
Pleasure.
I give you my guest star, Dylan.
Hi, Austen.
So my first question is, can you explain the workplace in white-collar jobs?
There are two different kinds, conglomerate and franchise.
Can you explain conglomerate to us?
Conglomerate is a major corporation that includes a number of smaller companies in unrelated industries.
And what exactly is franchise?
Franchise is one company that offers similar products or services in many locations.
Thank you for clarifying that for us. Can you explain to us what leisure activities are?
Activities are listening to music, going to drive-ins, and watching TV.
Thank you for your time. Now we have a guest named Seth. Can you tell us some reasons for economic troubles?
Well, Truman had to face strikes, which facing higher prices and lower wages, and Truman refused for strikes to cripple the nation. Truman appeared before Congress and asked for the authority to draft the striking railroad workers into the army.
Now what about the economic prosperity?
The Taft-Hartley Act was used, and it restricted rights of unions, which equaled the government delay strikes.
Well, going back to economic troubles, why was the suburbs created?
After the war, all the soldiers came back home, and there was a house shortage. So, William Lovett used the assembly line method to produce cheap cookie-cutter houses, which solved the house shortage. Once the suburbs were created, everyone had to follow these simple rules. No fences, doorbells must chime, mow the lawn regularly, and couldn't hang laundry on Sunday.
Thank you for clarifying that. Now, why was there a baby boom?
Soldiers came back from war back to their families. The economy was really good, so everyone decided that having kids would be a good idea because it was easier to support them.
One last question. Can you explain the white flight in the urban renewal?
Flight was the middle-class whites left for the suburbs. The urban renewal was the slum neighborhood, torn down to build new low-income housing.
Thank you for your time. These interviews hopefully helped you get a better understanding of the 50s. I am Austin Buck, and this is the 50s.